Hey, good morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here with the MLive Morning Weather Update, brought to you by Consumers Energy. Hey, a lot of folks joining in, learning about the warmth coming, hot weather, I would call it. Also some storms and also some great weather. And one thing I want to get off my chest, if I can, before we start. We're talking about hot weather next week, but remember, the storm zone is going to be over Michigan. And typically what happens is we get a complex of thunderstorms and it shoves the 90-degree plus air south into Ohio and Indiana for a day or two. So I think you'll see more intermittent heat than what current average forecasts display. And you know what? I was telling my weather intern Jack this morning, that's why people still need us. The models won't necessarily portray that, and the human mind of the meteorologist with some experience is still probably a little bit better than a model. I'll get off my soapbox now and get right on into it. And we indeed now heat and an active storm track. You know what that means, and June, you know what that means, is it's severe weather season in the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. So this is the severe weather forecast for today. Duluth, Minnesota, the very tip, western tip of the UP is in a fairly significant threat of severe weather. So does that come at us into lower Michigan tomorrow? And here is tomorrow's severe weather forecast. Let's call it Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Jackson, Kalamazoo, maybe Grand Rapids in the greatest chance of severe weather, and more likely probably in the southwest corner. And I'll show that to you a little bit more here. So here's a high resolution rapid refresh model. That means it runs every hour. And we like it because it gives us a really good idea of a general picture of the storm motion and the timing and the intensity. Let's go into this afternoon. It's beautiful. The showers you see up across the UP, those would be pretty light, not severe. And we go through the night tonight. This is 1 in the morning, 2, 3, 4. Here comes a line of showers and thunder showers, not severe, heading toward the Traverse City area, Ludington, Frankfort, Petoskey, and Charlevoix late tonight. And toward morning, toward sunrise, that batch of showers could be in the Northeast, could be in the Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, Mount Pleasant area, the Thumb, maybe some scattered showers even into Ann Arbor. And that moves out tomorrow morning. Very classic time for it to move out. And then the main threat of stronger thunderstorms, this is Thursday evening early, with some storms in the southern third of the state, I-94 southward. And then overnight, stronger storms come out of Illinois into the southwest corner and then toward the Detroit area Thursday night, and by Friday morning, all done. So a couple of stormy periods, but they're mostly nighttime type storms. Okay, now here's the most important thing I think that I can show you all day on my weather update, and I don't sugarcoat it for you. I don't dummy it down to you because I don't need to. When I was in television, you know, in the 90s, they were called television consultants, and they were these companies that would be hired by a TV station or a group owner of TV stations, and this consultant would come in and say, hey, in the news, you know, our research is showing that people want this, and in weather you need to do this and not do that. And they would come in the 90s and say, your weathercast needs to be given to a 6th grader. That's what the people's mentality is, a 6th grader. And we were like, really? Well, it's not 6th grade mentality anymore, and we don't have to do that. So where I'm going with this is we're going to look at the upper airflow. We're going to look at some in-depth maps, 15,000 feet up, and I'm going to show you the most interesting part of the weather pattern for me and you in the next week. Excuse me. And that is a storm system off the southwest coast of the U.S. that's going to get caught in this building hot dome, and it's going to ride up over it, and it's going to come right at Michigan. So what does that say? A building heat dome just to our south with a lot of energy. Hey, good morning, Mark Ambrosi. And then a strong upper level disturbance in June. That says it's a storm system we have to watch. It's still far out. It could be just a solid soaker, meaningful thunderstorms, or it could be a severe weather outbreak. We'll have to watch that. But here's what I want you to look at. So you can easily see the U.S. map here. See the circular pattern off the Baja of California, southwestern California. We're going to track that. I've been tracking it with you for several days now, about late Sunday into Monday, and this model, a good one, the European, still shows that to be the case on the timing. So here we go. Remember, this is a model forecast. Hey, good morning, Nate Pike. Hopefully the farming is doing well out there in Fairgrove, Michigan, I think maybe is what you call it. All right, so, and watch this, Nate. Get your stuff ready by Sunday for a rain, Sunday night, Monday. So here's that storm system. So we're at Friday now. And notice the wave opens up, and it's out in Colorado on Saturday morning. And then as we go through Saturday afternoon into Sunday morning sunrise, that wave, that bend in the jet stream is in western Iowa and eastern Nebraska and Kansas. And it's a significant wave for this time of the year. When you see a couple of contours of height bent by a disturbance at this time of the year, it's pretty significant. Now this would be 2 a.m. Monday, and then 8 a.m. Monday, and then 2 p.m. Monday. And usually most of the activity happens just ahead of the disturbance. So the timing could be good in that we get it in the middle of the night, which would cut the chance of severe weather. And this may just be a 1 to 3 inch solid rain for about the northern half of lower Michigan, and then maybe more thunderstormy in the southern half. But nonetheless, it's a wave that I'm watching. And then as that moves to the east, notice the atmosphere expands. Now we're into Wednesday, and you're seeing that 597. That means the atmosphere is hot, and it's expanded aloft, and that translates to hot weather at the ground. We go to Friday, and we go to Friday, June 21st. What I want you to notice is the hot dome is stretched out. The jet stream is across the UP, northern lower Michigan, southern Canada, and there are still storm systems coming in from the west. That's why I say typically what happens in Michigan is we get a clump of thunderstorms, typically severe thunderstorms, in the last couple of weeks of June in this kind of setup, and it shoves the hot dome south for a few days, 2, 3, 4 days, and then it builds back at us. So I think there will be breaks initially in this hot weather over the next few weeks. Now, by the time we get to mid-July, if this configuration is still this way and the jet stream is retreated into southern and central Canada, we may be in for an extended period of hot weather, and it's certainly kind of something that I would lean toward happening. Now, here's that same model in the wider perspective of the rain and the storm systems. We'll look at so Friday is dry, and Saturday is beautiful, and Sunday, we'll look at it a little bit closer in a minute. This is Sunday afternoon and evening, and this is Sunday night and Monday morning. You can see the area of, you know, this might be 1 to 2 inches of rain in a couple of hours. So it's not something that really rocks our world. unless there's more energy for severe storms. We'll have to watch that. And then as we go into next week, we know the hot weather comes in, but I also want to point out that the storm zone is around Michigan, more so in northern Michigan, more so in the UP than in southern Michigan. So it may be the case where southern Michigan hits 95, 96, 97, as in southern Michigan, Lansing southward. And it might be the case where at some point up through northern Michigan, maybe toward the Mackinac Bridge, it's a lot cooler because of the storminess, and by that I mean maybe in the low 80s. Here's the same model, a little closer of a look. That's your Thursday morning thunderstorms. That's your Thursday evening thunderstorms. That's your dry Friday. That's your great Saturday right there. That's Saturday afternoon. Let's see. Patty Freshney says, let's see. She says, I'm looking forward to hot weather. I'm curious if the winds are going to keep being strong. I'm so over the wind. LOL. A lot of folks have mentioned the wind. I do think it has been stronger than normal. But wind, I've studied that some, and it tends to even out. If you have a stormy period, you tend to have a lot of wind. Frank Milkey, Lapeer on Father's Day. Okay, let's get Father's Day. Here it is. This is this Sunday afternoon. Maybe some showers and thunderstorms from Traverse City northward. UP looks wet. Southern 2/3 of lower Michigan, including the eastern side, Alpena, Tawas, Oscoda, looks quite nice. And the farther south you are, the nicer, the more summery it will be. And then here's that disturbance. This is really 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. Monday, and that would really lessen the chances of severe weather, but not totally take them away. We have had some of our most significant severe weather towards sunrise. I'm not saying that we will have that in this case, but we tend to think that if something comes through at night, it has a lesser of a chance of being severe, and it does, but not always. When there's dynamics, upper level storm system, it can do whatever it wants at whatever time of the day, especially if we've been, you know, near 90 degrees in the afternoon before that. And again, then, as we go out into next week, we're in the hot dome, but we're also in the storm zone. So expect, kind of like, you know, the analogy I would give you is that our first warm spell in March that shows up in the models, and a lot of meteorologists jump on it. Sometimes I'm even enticed. It's tough. Even after 35 years, it's tough to not jump on an idea like that. But I try to temper it. And what happens then is a cold front starts to show up in the data at 6 days out, and then you start to see the temperatures creep down in the 7-day forecast, and then the cold front comes through, and by the time we get to it, it's a one-day warm-up, and the cold front squeezes it off. Same deal on this heat ridge. We tend to have thunderstorms that shove it south, especially at this time of the year. Again, in a month from now, no, all bets are off. It could be sticking around for, you know, who knows, 2 to 4 weeks, if that's the case. Again, not sugarcoating it for you. This is the jet stream, and what you should get out of this is that the jet stream, this is Thursday night, cuts right across the Great Lakes. Those are 100 to 150 mile an hour winds aloft. Those are the engine to thunderstorms and to severe weather. And we go into next, this is Sunday. There's our little disturbance. It doesn't really have a lot of jet core with it, but the models can be off a little bit on that based on the kink in the jet stream. And we go into next week, and the jet stream is lifted north, but we're still on the southern edge of it, which is a very favorable severe weather, severe thunderstorm complex type thing. Not a lot of hours of rain. These things blow through in a half hour or hour, but they can be severe. I'm just trying to keep you updated, folks. Now, this is that European 500 millibar heights, 15,000 feet up in its average mode, ensemble mode. It even shows the little bend there. Also again, Sunday evening. And then the ridge builds, and you can see why we would get so warm. We're into June 20th and June 21st and 22nd, and there's the ridge. And Nate Pike, farmer in the thumb, if you're still watching, you know, we're out to June 25th, and the atmosphere is a little warmer than normal, but look at that flat west to east flow. So if the disturbances keep coming out of the Pacific, we keep getting clumps of thunderstorms, and there's probably a severe weather outbreak in there sometime. All right, so we're back to summer today. I was cold this morning. Yesterday night I had the chills, and I was trying to find the remote to our electric fireplace, and I couldn't. Of course, we had our grandkids over the weekend, and I'm not sure if our 3-year-old grandson played with it, because he's a real remote monger, let's just say. Anything with a button on it, he'll start pushing it. So 80s today. 87 in Saginaw, Flint tomorrow, Ann Arbor, Detroit, 88, 89. So it's going to be a hot Thursday tomorrow. Humid too. Same for Lansing, Grand Rapids, 84, because more cloudiness a little bit earlier in the afternoon. The front shoves south, a good example of this, shoves south on Friday, and then we have just a gorgeous work skipper Friday, temperatures in the 70s. I think I'm blowing it off. I might not even tell MLive. I might just, I don't know, just might blow it off totally. Saturday, 70s. Sunday, back to the 80s. Monday. Now we start to get into the heat. The temperature numbers start to get a little bit fictitious. Use them with a grain of salt. We'll call it 90s in the southern half of the state. We'll call it 80s in the northern half. Tuesday in the 90s. Ignore the 97, the 98. That's pretty hard to do. Plan on 92, 93, 94. Wednesday also in the 90s. Thursday, it tries to indicate a storm system coming through, knocks the temperatures back a touch, and then they come right back at us 10 days out. And again, take it with a grain of salt, but what you need to know is that the hot zone, so to speak, will be fluctuating over the southern half of Michigan. When we get a thunderstorm complex to blow through, it shoves south. We have a nice day or two, comes back north. That's going to be the formula probably for the next couple of weeks into the first week of July. Then I would anticipate that that dome starts to shift north more permanently, and our breaks will be more infrequent on the heat. So a real summer. A real summer's on the way, and the foundations of it, a warmer globe, oceans are very warm, and the other thing is the El Nino switching to La Nina in the summer, we have found has had several notable summers, 1988, 1995 being two of those, that have turned very hot and very dry in the middle part of the U.S. Michigan will probably be on the edge of anything that would be really bad. I like to always tell the farmers that Michigan, a lot of times in a case like this, will be the best of the worst. In other words, we'll get some rain, we'll get some cool down, whereas Iowa, Missouri, Illinois may not. So there you go. Did you have enough weather there, folks? I think you did. That should get you updated. We'll recap because I am wordy. We've got a great day today. We've got some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening, especially in the south. We've got a beautiful day Friday. We already know. I'm skipping work. And then Saturday looks beautiful, and even Father's Day for most areas Looks really nice. We will watch Sunday night and Monday. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. This MLive Morning Weather Update brought to you by Consumers Energy. They will be put to the workout too if we get into the stormy pattern, so let's hope they are monitoring this, and I know they do. Take care. Have yourselves a great Wednesday. Bye.